They've done a nice Giddy room for us, and welcome to everybody who is at home or elsewhere on Zoom today. Hopefully this will be a clear audio experience. We're doing everything we can to make it that. But again, welcome to the December 5th, 2022 meeting of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. I'm Tom Packer, the club's president. And as we always do, we'll start off today's meeting with an invocation led by Tommy Kell.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you stand for us, please. Bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here together as Rotarians. Please be with us as we encourage each other and as we celebrate multiple traditions during the holiday season, multiple backgrounds, different intensities of family for good and for bad. We ask that you be with our good circumstances as well as our difficult circumstances. We remember those that during the holiday season are potentially missing a loved one, in particular for the first time this year. We ask that anybody in that position be comfortable. We thank you for all of the benefits that we receive as Americans, as Rotarians. We ask that you would help us to remember folks that are less fortunate than us and to do our part with our bell ringing and other service opportunities as the season comes through to make sure that we are exemplifying Rotary in the community, and putting ourselves out there in a light that would make you proud. We ask all this. Amen. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. Starting over the next part of the room, we're again very nice to have Jennifer Rodriguez with us. Jennifer's great to have you here. A couple of times already. She's with a Trans World company that specializes in selling businesses and has testified for membership too. So Jennifer, it's great to have you. And we have another special guest sitting next to our speaker who we meet later. My wife, Leslie Packer, is here today, Leslie. And then Richard has brought a guest with him today, the Wake It Partnership. You want to speak later, do some more meeting again later. And you'll also meet a little bit later. It's not really a guest, he's part of us, but Summer Wisher is here from Wake Smiles and the Southeast Raleigh Club. And we have Diamante Sanders. Diamante, do you mind coming up and just by the microphone if you would, so they can hear you on Zoom. Just name, rank, serial number, and what you do. Thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here today. Thank you for allowing me to be here, actually. I'm Diamante Sanders. I am from Smithfield, North Carolina. I actually work for State Employees Credit Union. I was originally a loan officer, but now I work in the back office internal on Wake Forest Road. And I'm just here to, fellowship, serve this Raleigh community, And just get to know every one of you all, you know, because I'm a firm believer, giving back to the community. So that's a little bit about it.
Great, thank you. Okay. And Jonathan has brought a guest today. Jonathan, would you like to introduce your guest or have your guest introduce herself? I'm talking to
I'm a good girl.
Okay, good. I'd like to say a couple words.
I'm here to break them on. Good afternoon. I'm Ann Carell, and I'm Ann Carell Enterprises LLC. And I'm here to introduce myself and let you all know that I hope to meet each and every one of you and have a really deep heart-to-heart conversation about how you can help me deliver passion and employment to our community. Ann Carell Enterprises seeks to marry those two things, employment with passion. I've recently gotten involved with United Way, Gabby's Browns, which if you all don't know about that organization, I'd love to tell you a little bit about it. And I'm just trying to develop some partnerships in our area so that basically I get to feed the girl and I get to feed her heart as well. So thanks for your attention. I hope to get to know a little bit more about you later. Thanks for having me.
Please don't forget the red buckets on your table. Any change or any amount you want to write on the monopoly money there, all goes to the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina. And it all adds up in the end, so please keep the red buckets in mind. Do we have any happy dollars today? Charlie, do you want to stand up and collect any happy dollars? How are you?
I have happy dollars.
University of Michigan wins 1 against the Fort so I'll say I didn't get much chance to say that.
For Michigan.
Happy dollars for Utah and for the ISD University, who is advancing into the playoffs. Despite
Yes. For any school that meets the University of Southern California is okay with me.
There you go. For my brother who just recently got his architecture license in West Virginia, he was already licensed in New Jersey, but he got his West Virginia license as well. So I'm celebrating him.
Happy dollar for the University of Richmond Spiders who lost the Sacramento State football Saturday. In the second round of the FCS, I put $1 for a loss. That's it.
Okay, that's pretty good. No idea.
Sacramento State.
Oh, Tommy does the background.
I did some money from my own suffering in South Carolina game. Never, I made a good brag out, but we went back to back, be the top 10 Tennessee team, and I mean, picking them around pretty good. And then the following week came back and beat Clemson, our arch rival. Clemson could go over 11 hours to go back for anybody interested with me, so I would go back. And Charlie, I'll just. Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. Charlie, one more time to close. Richard.
All right, everybody, we're going to celebrate college. I have that. Table fence, Challenge champion, go ahead. You know, you won't play the ACC championship in Tuesday, but I'm here today to celebrate a high school victory. Like the Greensboro North Carolina Grizzlies just became state champion as of Friday. I had the honor of playing over.
Here's for Fayetteville State and Rensselaer. Everybody else. Okay, guys, on Zoom, Cindy Poole has 29 happy dollars for Clemson's victory. Is that right? One for every point they beat UNC. Good thing you're not here. Go Clemson. Okay, great. Just a reminder of upcoming meetings. Next week, we will be meeting not on Monday, but Wednesday. If you haven't RSVP, please do, for the holiday luncheon. Next Wednesday at the Carolina Country Club. I have to talk to the representative there today about which room we're gonna be in, so be great if any of you haven't quite gotten to it yet, to turn in your RSVPs, yes or no, by the end of the day. And it'll be, there's a good time, it's a special time where we all dress up and have hot cider and mingle, and there's some entertainment, music, seem to be the promos for me talking about it, but we have a great group. I know we have about 70 or so already coming, more than we've had all year anyway, so it's gonna be a great time. And Kirk,
Don't forget to bring a toy, unwrapped toys for Tots.
yes, Kirk is running our Toys for Tots program, so bring an unwrapped toy and to the meeting, and Kirk will make sure it gets to the right place. And I'll talk in a moment about our food drive that we're having, not after your lunch, but separately. Remember though, as we proceed in the holiday season, no meetings on December 19th, December 26th, January 2nd, and we'll come back here on January 9th and start up with our regular meetings. As I mentioned at last meeting, instead of bringing food to the holiday luncheon this year, we're focusing our efforts on the Toys for Tots drive. But there is a way you can still donate to the Urban Ministries Food Pantry this year for people who are in need of the basics of food and things we take for granted this holiday season. And again, the way you can do it is it's 2 steps. Just go to our website, Raleigh Rotary.org, click on Donate Now. And then on the right, you see that takes you to the options to donate 4 different entities, our foundation, for example, or Wake Smile. You can also check out the Urban Ministries Food Pantry. Just takes 2 minutes. So please consider doing that. And this will be up through the month of December. We also had some happy news. If you read the newsletter this morning, Ashley Simpson gave birth to her son Reed, and former president Dana Johnson. She and her husband had their second baby, Leia, I think it's pronounced. So that's all great news. So congratulations to them. And now I'll move on to Nosy Neighbor, Tommy.
Good, very good. Had to have my tooth in guard my pie while I come up here. Everybody takes a pie. All right, very good. Nosy Neighbor is Mr. Charlie Upshaw. When I came here to Rotary, Charlie was one of the first people that said, "You were the boss." So I hung out with Charlie and we became fast buddies. It's good news. We're going to go through a couple questions about that. Charlie, before that, can you give us 2 different pieces? One, can you tell us about your prior roles in the club and your experience with the club? And then 2, can we learn about you personally, your wife, immediate family, and what you do for a living? If you could help us out with those 2, and then we'll get some questions.
Okay. Well, Charlie, do you mind? Can you do it for Mike?
Oh, yeah, come on over here. Sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate, letting me speak a few minutes. I can't remember. I found out that somebody asked me to find out, and I said about 11:30 a.m. Somebody got a text from me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I was born in Atlanta.
You're lucky you got that. Go ahead.
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in Lexington, Virginia. Some of y'all know the pretty valley town of Denver, Washington, Lee, and VMIs, but I wanted to go to the University of Richmond for college, get away from home. And that expensive private school, my mom said, well, you don't want to get a VMI, you got to go on Army ROTC scholarship. So went 4-year Army ROTC scholarship to the Richmond Spiders, and then stayed the Army 6 years. So I wound up at Fort Bragg. I was in the 82nd Airborne. Flying helicopters. That was my scary incident of my life. And met my wife Connie there. She's born in Texas, so Texas was large in our house. And but she was high school at Lakeland, Florida, University of Florida graduate pharmacist, lot smarter than me. So, but our teacher was smarter than her, because I thought her and married me. 40-year guy. And
It's a convincing argument.
convincing, so moved to Raleigh and I was an investment broker, and here I am 40 years later. y'all got any money, I'll be nice to you. That's
And you got, kids in your.
oh, yeah, like, once, he's, went to DMI's, in the army now, in Navy, in the army in Germany, married his German girl, friend a few years ago. So he's, and he just finished going to airborne jump school, Labor Day time, when you got to watch him jump out of planes. And,
And you're, oh, go ahead. I was about to say, and your badge is just lit up with all your Rotary accolades.
hot stuff here.
Yeah, talk about as much as you're willing.
All right, so I had a big fortune, it's along with my buddy Randy Frazier, served as president and then assistant district governor, a secretary for many years. And, really enjoyed it. And it's been a great experience for me. I mean, I just love hanging out with y'all and thank y'all for still keeping me in and not kicking me out.
Very good, very
I
good.
go to Atlanta a lot.
Yeah.
About special, like some of y'all been to my Atlanta, I inherited my late aunt and uncle's home in Atlanta, Georgia, Marietta, y'all, that went to the 2017 Rotary International Convention Atlanta. It's a colonial era home built in 1788, and my aunt and uncle moved it from Washington, Georgia to Marietta in the 1960s. So it's this beautiful home. And I think Terry and Bill, Kevin, some have been to see it. So y'all get to Atlanta, let me know. We'll have another party now. So,
Very good, Charlie. We got some questions here for you. And if you've already covered part of this, feel free to move through, but if you haven't, tell us something that most people wouldn't know about you.
well, I guess part of that's related to the danger thing. I mean, I never saw combat like my buddy, Sturdy Roberts. But in the 82nd Airborne flew helicopter, we got shot up one time, which was kind of a frightening experience, not hurt, but we were flying the helicopters in one of those live fire missions and the artillery, Vietnam style, fly the first artillery bombs the battlefield, and then here comes the Cobras flying in, shooting, and then here I'm flying along with my little cutie helicopter thundering along, and boom, 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 and I said, wow, this is really realistic stuff. we were a few seconds earlier, the artillery was still late. My Vietnam air and pilot says, landed, sir. So you landed, and the crew chief stopped around, I'm sorry, it hit me, and helicopter didn't people I think we're going to explode. I lived to tell that's the only real war story. Yeah, I'm just kind of scared about it.
You only have one war story. That's a good one. Charlie. If you guys haven't met Charlie, spend some time with him. If you are a new member, sit with Charlie. He's a bunch of fun. Charlie, buy me one. Yeah.
Thanks for being a good sport, Charlie. Eric said, would you like to come on and give a membership update, please? Our membership chair, Harrison Turner.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody on Zoom. Thanks for being here today. Sadly, I don't have a lot to discuss today. One quick reminder for anyone who has received an e-bike, we have a new member orientation this Wednesday night, 5:30 to 6:30. Tom is hosting us. So if you have not, last time I looked, I think we still had some people that did not respond. So if you haven't responded to the RSVP, please do so. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you've never been part of a new member orientation, come and see me out in the meeting. We can get you set up there. And then like just for our guest day, I hope that you find through the conversations you have and just what we talk about. Our motto at Rotary is service above self. And that's something that we truly strive to live by on a daily basis. From the events that we do, to the outreach we make in our community. So I would say, I echo what Tommy said, find someone that's been a member here for a long time and ask them like, hey, why Rotary? Find out why they have passion behind what we do, why they come to these meetings. So thank you for that.
Now, this is one of the fun parts of Rotary in the meetings for me is giving away money. Not just giving away money, but targeting it to very good causes in our community. So we wanted to make it a little bit special and invite some special people here today. First of all, you all recall the fundraiser we had at the end of October, which benefited Rotary Polio Plus, which we raised over $1,400 for, and have sent that contribution into Rotary International. But We also wanted to recognize and raise money for the Gift of Life Foundation, which you have heard about before, that our member, James Marchi, is an integral part of, and brought that to our attention. And it's a very, very worthwhile organization, essentially sponsoring, funding heart surgeries for needy children in places around the world where they otherwise would not be able to have heart surgery. So I'd like to Carrie, and either Carrie or Eric, who headed our fundraiser last month, could be here today. But I'd like to ask Dave to come up and I'll present a check to him. My favorite part, Rotary.
There you go.
Did you put that in your wallet? So we have our volunteers clearinghouse size check that we get to give to James and to the Gift of Life Foundation. Our pleasure to introduce you.
Thank you so much. And so you all know, very important, where we're at right now, every 2 hours and 18 minutes, we're performing a heart procedure somewhere in the world. So we're over 4,000 kids a year that we're helping. So this goes to help all of them.
This is the important part. This is the real check. And then next, earlier this year, I guess a couple of months ago, our service chair, Richard Everett, brought to our attention an organization that, as it turns out, in the 1990s, I just found through some historical documents we had a relationship with back then. Steve York was our contact at the Waygate Partnership. But through Richard letting us know about the organization and about the important things they do supporting public education in North Carolina, he introduced us to them, and Eric Larson, the chair of our foundation, approved, and we all voted to approve a $1,500 contribution to the Waygate Partnership. We had, even though they were nice enough and some of us attended a banquet they had, we not yet had a chance to actually meet them to present the large check to them. And so, Richard, do you want to introduce your guests and come up here and present you the check?
I want to introduce Steve. He's the executive director of the Wayside Partnership, and Steve, I'll let you give the elevator speech. Well, no, I appreciate that. I'm good to know that about our past history, because we're actually this coming year, 2023, with Education Partnership, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary, and so we're going to be doing a lot of special things, including the event which I'll sponsor. There'll be a celebration of our 40 years, and we've been around. We actually spun out of, some of y'all are involved in the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce too. We were in the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce as a separate organization inside there. And there were some great business leaders like me, York, and some others who, back in Dick Dougherty, Sherwood Smith, people like that, and some of the real powerhouses here in the Triangle, thought that Wake County Public Schools could benefit from having a separate organization, separate from the chamber, separate from the school district, to really be a booster for what the public school is. So that's what we've been doing. So we've been supporting teachers, student programs, and things for our Wake County Public School. 160,000 students, 10,000 teachers. The biggest school district in the state. So we appreciate it. So the donation you make goes directly into supporting our program. Just I'll mention one, because Richard's been out there and volunteered too. We're always looking for volunteers. It's called Tools for Schools. And it's an effort to provide free classroom supplies for teachers, so they don't have to buy stuff out of their own pocket. Looking around, I'm guessing some of y'all have children and grandchildren that might be teachers, and they're having to go out and buy stuff out of their own pocket to build their classroom stuff. So we provide that by getting donations. And like I was just working out last Thursday, we had 25 teachers on here, 30 minutes coming in, loading up baskets and going straight to their car, straight into the classrooms. And teachers around here spend about $500 or more themselves out of their own pocket. So they shouldn't have to, but as long as they have to, we're going to try to help. So that's just one of our things we do. So this is
Richard, you want to do the honors? Photo op.
We think that Richard served on board of record and has for the last few months, so we appreciate it. Great. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for coming today. Thank you. And last but not least is the Rotary Club of Raleigh Dental Clinic, also known as Wake Smiles, who, as the guests here may not know, our club several years ago raised well over $200,000 to found this dental clinic inside the Salvation Army premises on Capitol Boulevard for people who can't afford dental care. It makes a difference in people's lives, big difference. And we're just pleased to be able to keep supporting Wake Smiles, and we actually have a formal resolution that we give them a percentage of the interest and dividends from our endowment every year. And we also apply for a district grant to the Rotary district, a larger district than us. And we're successful in obtaining additional funds from them as well. And so today, I'd like Summer Wisher, the director of Wake Smiles, to come up. And Summer.
Okay, right.
How's this?
Great.
Here, okay. We're gonna Summers with a check for over $4,000, $4,562, which will do a lot of good for the community.
I've heard you speak before, but this amount of money goes a long way. Every time a patient comes into our office, it's about $150 for us to see them. And we're talking about adults who are in their mid-40s who have never sat in a dental chair. And we get entrusted with caring for them and making their life better. We make them healthier, we make their mouth better. And it's just a very rewarding environment. We are busting at the seams of the Salvation Army. We are operating lots of hours a week, and it's a full thing. So maybe we need a round two. I'm just saying, I have another. Thank you so much.
And just a quick note again, this money doesn't just come out of the air, arise out of the ether. Our last fundraiser, again, we wanted to just thank our sponsors. You recognize all of them, I hope. And for the donors, I did my part. I had to play my round of golf with Sarah, Terry Reeves, a nephew that they purchased for him, and had a great time with their nephew. But thank you again, Sarah and Terry, for your generous donation, and all the other donors that make all this possible. Okay, Terry, Sarah saying it's just Sarah. Okay. And Linda is Gilbert here or on Zoom. Okay. That's all right. So we're going to honor Bob Gilbert at our next meeting. He's been very generous to the club, but we'll let perhaps Eric Larson and you want Bob here too. Go into more detail about Bob's generosity for the club. This is a reminder that at the end of the month, for any of you who have nominations for the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award, which Mark Hackett and Brandy Hugh explained earlier, it's an award we get out every year. The nominations are due by the end of the month, so please keep that in mind. And Linda has the form if you want to submit. And next we'll have our service report, which today I think will be Bill and or Kevin talking about our bell ringing for the Salvation Army. Oh, there you go. Oh, Bill. Bill start out. I like to finish.
All right, so we're off to a great start. So right now we got 41 Rotarians signed up for at least 1 hour. That goes to, Christmas Eve. Normally, on a good year, we get over 70. Last year, I think we were in the 60s with COVID. So we got a ways to go. So I appreciate some of you want to have not signed up. At least give up an hour of your time and come out there and ring the bells for us. This week, we've got openings pretty much every day. Today, Monday, 3 to 4:30. Tuesday, 4 to 5:30, 6 to 8, Wednesday, 6 to 8, Thursday, 6 to 8, and Friday, 3:30 to 8, and Saturday, pretty much all day. So, please go ahead and sign up.
Yeah, this is, Bill and I really have a passion for this project, and whether or not you guys can volunteer or not, there are members, I'm gonna dedicate a lot of hours to this project, and Bill is as well. I thank him for his dedication. There are members that are gonna sign up. We're asking everybody to sign up at least, for 1 hour, preferably 6 hours. That would even out the load, but some of us are gonna do a lot more and some of us are gonna do a lot less. I'm gonna be more optimistic. Years ago, we used to get about 75% of our club. That would be closer to like 80 members, to sign up. I think we can get there this year if I twist arms hard enough and make you guys feel guilty. But it really is a great project and I want to see us succeed. Thanks, Terry. I saw him out there this morning and it's really a great fellowship opportunity. So please sign up. Don't make Bill and I fill in all those gaps.
Any questions?
Oh, yeah, there is one other thing for the new members. I do need to clarify something. The new members, because we don't explain it. When you go on to Sign Up Genius, I've noticed a lot of times where you want to go out there for say 2 hours or 3 hours. Make sure you sign up for every other shift. When you sign up for the 10 o'clock and the 10:30 shift, that means you're going to be there by yourself. Because somebody can't sign up for that alternating half-hour shift. So if you want to go 2 hours, make sure you pick every other shift, not 2 in a row. So I hope that makes sense.
If you're making personal donations, don't forget
The kettle, put it in the kettle.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This is we want to win the award for Rotary. We want that very love beat us again last year, took the belt. So we want to win. And that means not only do we want to raise more money for the generous givers that walk by to Walmart, but if you guys, as Charlie said, regularly donate money to the Salvation Army, do us a favor, bring your check out and stick it in the kettle, then we get credit. That's what Carrie does, and we're gonna
Or give it to me. Or give it to us, and we'll put it in there for you.
Can we get an apron that doesn't stay for long?
Yeah, well, we're working on it.
We're working.
Okay. Thanks, guys. So you all have to sign up Genius, please sign up for those spots.
like, are we in the lead? How much did we lead to carry last year?
It was about 300 bucks.
Right, so we are always in competition with the Carry Club, so let's try to make it close here. Before we introduce our speaker, Carolyn Carter has a birthday coming up. And Tommy and Kim, congratulations on your upcoming anniversary. And Alfredo and Maria Angela, Kim Samoli as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker today. We're fortunate to have, I think will be a very interesting topic, Professor Dudley Marchi, who teaches at North Carolina State University. He has a bachelor's degree in English from University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and MA in comparative literature from North Carolina Chapel Hill, and a PhD in comparative literature at Columbia University. Dr. Marchi has been a faculty member in the Department of Foreign Languages and Literatures at NC State since 1989. His most recent book, France, with NC capitalized, is about the French heritage of North Carolina, recently published last year. And he's here today to tell us about a little known but powerful and important part of our relationship with France. So, Dr. Marchi. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for inviting me. Delicious lunch. My last name Marchi is Italian,
So my grandmother was very happy. We started here today. And all of us really fine people here. So thank you again. We're gonna get the first one, right? So France, is the capital and savior. No other state can do that in the United States. And actually, my wife can do that. She's still an artist, so I can take full credit. So whenever I present this topic, first thing I have to say is that I'm not French, I'm not from North Carolina. So if you'll forgive a transplant Yankee, you find this my home, been here for 33 years, longer than any place I live, and that's where North Carolina. The French part, I started studying French in high school, college, it's one of my languages. I had the opportunity to live in France for a year as a teacher. And I got to meet French people, and I know the French have a reputation for being a little prickly and snobby, and they can be. And once you get to know them, they're very warm, friendly, learning people. And France, as you know, has a wonderful culture, history, art, etc. So when I first started on this project some years ago, I was just writing an article for our state magazine about French places in North Carolina that I happened to come across in my travels. Over the Grange, which is Barn, Concord Phase, and about an hour from here, Pelletier. And then the project started to grow. I gathered more and more information, about a lot of history and information. One that is interesting, most people don't know, is that the French were the first Europeans since Governor North Carolina in 1524. We used before Sir Raleigh's expedition. An original idea for the title was the other French connection, so they didn't want to have any intellectual property violations with Gene Hackman's movie. This is the book, The French Heritage of North Carolina. And even though I have a PhD, I can scare some people. This book is written for general reading public, general reading audience. On publishing, I'm not here to promote the book. Any royalties, meagers that I do make for the book, I give to the NC State Scholarship Foundation for first generation college students, which I'm one. So I just wanted to real quickly just give you the context of what I'm going to talk about, the French Friendship Train here in Raleigh and the other stuff. And so this is the scope of the book. Sorry. So everybody know a little French? You all know about the French lost colony, the lost colony. There's a French lost colony of Newburgh, which I found. That's in the book. So I won't talk all about all of it, but right here, this chapter is from where the French Friendship Train information comes from. Either students, another French title, meaning long live the South. Since the French supported the Confederacy, not directly, but they had an idea that they were going to support the Confederacy at a certain point. And then I found some wonderful material in the archive in North Carolina from World War I. A lot of people from North Carolina, a lot of veterans, fought in World War I, died in World War II in France. And everyone knows the names of the bell tower at the university. There's 33 names inside the bell tower. NC State alumni who died in World War I, and 21 of them died in France. So very good. And then World War II, of course, there were many veterans that served in the Second World War. And that brings us to the next section, which is the French Friendship Train, which was out in the aftermath of the Second World War. So this is not Raleigh, this is New York City, 1949, February 3rd, 200,000 New Yorkers gathered on Broadway in Manhattan. And there were 3 boxcars filled with French goods and traveled up the avenue, painted with the logo of the 40 French regions, and a tricolor band with the words "Fin de la Reconnaissance Française," which you'll see in a moment, the French Gratitude Train. French sent gratitude trains to all 49 states in the U.S. for their appreciation to secure victory over Nazi Germany and the liberation of France from occupation. What inspired the French Friendship
was the American free ship trade a couple of years earlier, 1947, part of the Marshall Plan, where US sent 700 boxcars, 6 million tons of goods worth $40 million distributed across France to help it get back on its feet. And this generosity inspired a railway worker, Andre Picard, to organize a committee to give a reciprocal gift to the US. And after the Second World War, France was devastated, but it was very little. Prime Minister Robert Schuman encouraged French citizens to contribute everyday French objects to the years, and more than 52,000 cultural artifacts were collected from 6 million people. The symbol of the French gratitude train, it's on every car, is it's steam engine, and it's depicted with these are flowers from Flanders field up in the northeast part of France, and border of Belgium. A lot of Americans buried. And it's very artistic, it's about the war, but very artistic people. And this was an old train, so you can see the train of under that said, train of French thankfulness to the American people. They were displaying all the boxcars. Each gift had handwritten official label, it's not a lazy label. And here's a one in Madame Bovin in Paris, history arrondissement was fairly affluent neighborhood, and a lot of the French even wrote names. So these gifts that the French gave, very valuable collection. The French, the gratitude train was given the name of the Merci train. The French for thank you. It continues to fascinate historians, francophiles, and railway admirers alike. So before the gifts, one of the most interesting artifacts is the boxcar itself. These are French military boxcars of between 1872 and 1885. They were used to transport troops in World War I and World War II to the front lines. Many American soldiers rode in these boxcars to the battlefields during the wars. And the French call the boxcars chevaliers. They were very practically designed. They made 40 men or 8 horses. And a lot of the trains, it's got the came in, those long years on six, only half the trains, maybe about 25 that are still in existence. But NC's is intact, in excellent condition, on display. You won't visit it at the Transportation Museum in Spencer. It was brought there in 1983 after the Wilson Society of 48 restored it. And when I was working on the project, I'm the curator of the museum, allowed me to photograph the inside. So this is the train, kind of eerily brought me back into the, into the past. You can imagine, the 40 men getting transported here. They couldn't even lie down, they just had to sit or stand. It smelled like horse. And so they, it was just very interesting that we still have a wonderful, intact car. So this Mercy train in downtown Raleigh on February 18, 1949. And these photographs are from the state archives. Most of them were taken by the Youth Observer. It's quite an event. So this is the governor at the time, William Carr Scott. Welcome to French dignitaries who had accompanied the train. And it was really exciting, wasn't it? So I could jump out of the car. While I was looking, there's a system that just didn't wait to go see the train. And is also excited because he's going to meet Countess. She's the Countess Weiss. She was the chair of the Paris committee that oversaw the implementation of French gratitude train initiative. That's the Countess here. Excuse me, get used to this remote. So there's the Countess, our of course, the lovely assistant. I cannot identify her yet. I'm still working on it. In his welcoming remarks, there was a parade on the street side. Kim Pajun, Fort Bragg soldiers. We had a parade, military band, You know, Uncle Sam showed up there. The street. And his welcome remarks at the ceremony, Jonathan Daniels, editor of the Raleigh Observer at the time, recalled that the Marchi de Lafayette, great ally of the Revolutionary War, had ridden in a similar parade in 1825 on Fayetteville Street. That's an interesting part of the book. You know, Marchi de Lafayette came back to North Carolina in 1825, went to Murfreesboro, Halifax, Raleigh, and down to Fayetteville, which is named after Marchi de Lafayette. Mr. Daniels expressed his people of North Carolina's gratitude to the French for the friendship and generosity, and Ms. the Countess and Sam. Now, I thought maybe some people could help me here. I can't identify these fellows over here. Looks like it was some kind of civic organization. It's not Rotary members, all right? I think I'm still working on it. We're still kind of trying to fill this project out and work on it. Here's the Countess and Sam. Finally together like this, the Countess. Nice little time there. This was one of my favorite photos of the whole thing. Having helped me. Participating in the ceremony was a gentleman named R.V. Colley. He was the last living Confederate veteran in the state who had turned 105 a few days ago. R.V. Colley. French boxcar was filled from floor to ceiling with gifts. And unloading it. We're going to get to some of the items in a minute. There are about 1,000 items in the archives. East North Carolina Museum of History. Some have been cataloged and photographed, not all of them. One of the most original offerings, which we do not have a picture, is a fabric knot that's woven from comb fibers of the U.S. and French flags that flew from the Eiffel Tower on May 8th, 1945, the day that Germany surrendered in Paris. So we're going to see it's a Richard Baird collection. Here's the invitation. And this was in a place called the History Hall. It's before there was the North Carolina Museum of History. Now it's like all of history with the carcass. A lot of school children were there from the middle schools and local high schools. And the boys in there unpacking things. And these are the women of the Raleigh Women's Club. They were sort of believe this and expecting that's a French doll. They're expecting. There's a damn task set. The school children looking on. Experiential education at its best. Take students on field trips, right? I've been teaching at NC State since 1989, as Tom said, and my students go into Happy Dinosaur. And so that's okay. But I still don't see students dressing like this again. They'll have to come over sometimes. It's one of my favorite photographs. It's two Boy Scouts admiring a French handcrafted miniature sailboat. Now, some of the items after this ceremony were donated to museums, libraries, and schools around the state. But the museum, this historical North Carolina archivists, who are most stay right here, central so people can have access to it. It's not on display right now. Periodically, the museum presents the display, but right now the house there, we can get this beauty items on special condition. So what they did, so people in North Carolina could have access to them, they created the French North Carolina trailer. They had a trailer that would run to the schools out of the state, so people, young people, could appreciate the artifacts that people inside. See them. A good friend, and she saw this picture, and she said, "That's Sanford." And I had a picture of the. She had a picture of the scrapbook, and one of the months is in this picture. So to Sanford, and then Rocky Mountain. So the Rocky ran all throughout the state to give the young people about the American allies. So now the collection, and I just picked out three things that are sort of noteworthy for me. Now, this is a French peasant style gown. really like it because of the simplicity, it's hand woven, it's old design, this design goes probably back to the 1600s. It's, you know, authentic cultural artifacts. Next to us, this is the Savoy. This is in the south and eastern part of France, way down to the Italian border. And this is where all Benzines came from. If you're all familiar with the town of Albines, before down over to Asheville, all Benzines were an early sect of sort of pre-Protestants. They were persecuted for a long time. They eventually came to North Carolina, settled there, and were very successful. French and Italians, other great textile weavers. And then this patch is symbolic importance. It's the town of the Havre, and this is the king at the time, Francis I. That's his real symbol, salad pipe. It's a real symbol of Francis I, a great Renaissance king, the salamander. Suppose it can go on the fire and not burn in his crown. And this is official royalty, and it was Francis I who commissioned the gentleman named Giovanni da Spirito to come and explore the coast of New York. And the crew was a French crew. Antoine de Gonflon was the captain of the ship, the French crew. Giovanni was on the ship with a group of Italians, and they came up the coast of North Carolina, Florida. They passed by the wind and pine knoll shores. Today, if you go to the North Carolina Aquarium, it's a sign that says French versus Flores. Because we know the French didn't stay here, that they kept going up the coast, and eventually the English, North Carolina became an English home, not French one, but the French were here first, kind of moved away. Sir Walter Raleigh, as even boy, he read Verrazano's account of his exploration. Verrazano is a very, very detailed log book of the travel. And it was up around Kitty Hawk. He saw the satellite was south. He thought on his map they found the Pacific Ocean. But on the Western Sea, that's what they were looking for. It was Columbus too. Even a shortcut over to Columbus. That was a shortcut. His map was a little off, but they were trying to get to Asia without having to go around Cape back. So often we read that account, and it's no coincidence that its first colony ended up growing up approximately the same, place that Arizona had been. Did Sir Walter Raleigh ever come to North Carolina? And did it? He sent the expedition. Sir Walter Raleigh ended up getting beheaded in England for treason in the 1600s. But it was his genius that motivated the discovery of North Carolina. So this ship that also sailed coincidentally out of this town, up in Normandy, big shipping area. This is the Thank You America ship. This is the ship that came over to New York with all the boxcars in it. So I'm just going to give you a brief check in the time here. I'm not going to go through the whole catalog. Just give you an idea of a few. NC History Museum. Very proud of the history. 300 postcards for the 300th anniversary. They're all hand drawn from the 300th anniversary of Alsace-Lorraine. Scarves. This is one of Paris, of course. Exquisite. This is a medieval scene. You have the longest not in the foreground. From the Belle Époque from the 1890s, it's a lacquered fan and design on the right. There's some dolls. This is from Alsace-Lorraine. It's a doll from Morocco. There are about 200 of these dolls in the archives. This is a young boy from Basque Country. This is one of my favorites. This is a sardine plate. It's a real random collection. People, some of them just went over their attics and gave what they could. There's some more valuable items. There's a Marchi de Lafayette's walking stick, and there's a carriage that one say got a Louis XV. And some states even received, small oak trees. They planted them, it's so grown today. Oklahoma, for example, they have a grove of oak trees. And this is just, the true sardines of the Biamir brothers, sardine dish. Very exquisite, of course, design. These are just hand woven lapel pins, maybe leather, hand painted. I was going through this. This is an Art Deco necklace from the 1920s. That was the Roaring '20s in the United States. In France in 1920, called the Crazy Years. It's not even called a great period. The war was over, jazz came to Paris, and everybody's had a really good time until the Great Depression came worldwide. With these two, they have more miniatures. Way Antoinette. Two famous French people, right? Even though neither one of them are French. Actually, he's from Austria, and he's from Corsica. And she ended up getting beheaded. Runs that history. He died of stomach cancer in exile. So the collection goes on. So I think I'll just end there, and I think my time is up. Sometime you get over to the museum. It's available on special request. So North Carolina, all the states in the U.S. has the most well-preserved boxcar, and maybe the most complete collection. So I'll end it there. Thank you for your attention.
Are there any questions, Bert?
I just, I don't know, because you know, the, Plainfall Country Club in Wilmington, the Rachel Beach, has in its patch, they have a Verrazano Boulevards, the main road in Plainfall, but they're also the 1524, so they're coming up on the 500th anniversary of the French. Really big group. Yeah, Wilmington at Plainfall.
Yeah, there's another historian, I don't want to dispute the plan. That may have happened, in fact, the first one may have been in Wilmington.
Yeah, we're acting like each other.
Good. I'm going to check that out. I have the information.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing project.
Yes, one wanted to see most of these objects. Where are they these days?
In North Carolina Museum of History, right here in Raleigh. Okay, we have to sort of email the special books. Very obvious. Very protected.
Okay. Well, very good. We thanks. Appreciate that. You need talk. Here's people who. Oh, you went to France. Great French. Well, we'd like to. That's what I think. We'd like to present you though with a token of our appreciation. Rotary Club of Raleigh coffee mug with our 4-way test that we try to live our Rotary lifestyle, and we very much appreciate you coming to talk with us. It's a wonderful organization. Okay. Thank you again. Thank you. Great. Thank you. All right, everybody, and I'd like to thank once again Jean-Luc for handling the AV today. They're doing a good job. Thanks, Jean-Luc. We don't want to take that for granted. So thank you. And I won the meeting with the 4-way test ways. Stand. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the trigger? Is it fair and all concern? Will the friendships will be beneficial to all concerned? Very